For this episode, I'll be talking about more of the interest and concern for this new product in the Philippine setting. I am a Filipino and I'm here in the Philippines. Most important part of this video are the warnings that I will give you. Listen to the advantages and the disadvantages that I will share to you depending on what you care the most. And stay with me till the end because I will be introducing to you these 3 phones which features that we wish iPhone could have. One sample is from very low battery is you could have it full charge in 20 minutes. So what phone is that? Phones with dope features as we finish discussing all about this iPhone 13. Hi there guys, what's up? I'm Jake. You're on Jake's Daily talking about this launch event launching the new iPhone 13. Well, also presented during the launch event was the new series of iPad and the much awaited development on the Apple Watch series. The launch was so dynamic because of the limitation to our audience. There were lots of drone shots. And before we proceed, may I ask you to please subscribe? Mind you, this is the hardest episode I will ever do here in my channel, because I promised myself that I will make this a straight English episode just to be relevant. Actually, my main content here is about my American bullies, how to raise them and breed them. But I have here a playlist for some tech reviews. Being a media practitioner, I also teach cinematography and SLR operation for your vlogging activities. Being an Apple boy for more than a decade, almost all my devices are Apple products, and that gives me a feeling to be eligible to review new products from Apple. And to tell you frankly, I am very disappointed with Apple. I've gone through a lot of hassles, but then again, I can't touch myself to not using Apple products. I don't know why. So I hope you would consider subscribing, but if you change your mind, you can always unsubscribe. But if you do, just want you to know that there will be a notification coming to me and I will go to your house to tell you to subscribe again. So if you're watching this, I appreciate your support. All the contents I have are out of hard work. If this channel blows up in the future, you might want to like this video and comment now to prove that you're here when it started, and whichever comment got the most likes, I will pin your comment forever. And every person who will click this video for the rest of eternity will most likely see your comment. Thanks for being here. I love you.
Galing mo din, ano? Di mo pa ako binabato, tinamaan ako sa iyo.
And now we go back to the reason why you're here for the lineup of iPhone 13. iPhone 13, iPhone 13 mini, iPhone 13 Pro, and the iPhone 13 Pro Max, which has the same lineup of the iPhone 12. And maybe most of you notice that iPhone units now have the lowest price ever. Maybe because of the pandemic, if they sell it at high price, no one will buy. The problem with iPhones is they release new models much faster, which has not much difference. Unlike the Samsung products, once they release new gadgets, new devices, you can see new design, new developments, new features that are really interesting. There are only 2 main differences between iPhone 12 and iPhone 13. And this is the camera and the display. While battery longevity have increased from 1 hour 30 minutes to 2 hour and 30 minutes. On the display, they have more brightness for visibility. The display now has smaller notch. And on the 13 Pro and the 13 Pro Max, they have added 120 Hz display, an advantage to the gamers because of the much faster graphics. When you have super fingers, these iPhones will adjust to super variable display rate. But the disadvantage, if you care about battery life, don't buy this 13 Pros. Settle to the regular 13s because of the variable refresh rate consumes too much battery life. And now the second main reason are the cameras. The 13 Pro and the 13 Pro Minis still have the same cameras as with those iPhone 12. They just change the layout and they make this diagonal. I have just vlogged from my previous episode that after 75 days, my iPhone 12 already has dead pixel. And I called the attention of the Apple support in Hong Kong, and they helped me to diagnose. Nothing happened. They told me to go to the service center, and they gave me the number, which is, what the fuck? I told them, why don't you call the service center so that I already have the schedule? Not me calling the service center to set an appointment or a schedule, because to tell you frankly, I have lots of experience with that matter. So this means that I called the Apple support, doesn't change anything. But the bottom line is you don't have any option. So I went to the service center and told me that this matter will require 4 weeks before they make a decision. So I'm really disappointed. I told them, since this is a free device from my plan, maybe my service provider can somehow help me, because 4 weeks is too long. Maybe they can arrange something for me. So this morning was my scheduled appointment that I've waited for some time, only to get this piece of paper, which is a certification issued for warranty reference. I scheduled, waited, and went there just to get this paper, which doesn't matter at all. Already been there, and they don't require for something like this. The information are on the phone that I have warranty for 1 year. So be careful of these iPhone cameras. They might get you into hassles, just like this MacBook Pro. 1 year warranty. The battery died after 16 months. I went to the service center for the diagnostics. I had to pay 2,500 just by looking at the device. And after a week, they texted me to get the diagnostics and the quotation. And for the battery, they want me to pay 42,000. Enough for me to buy a lower end laptop. So be careful in buying Apple products. Be lucky or not. This is actually my 4th MacBook Pro. My first MacBook Pro of 10 years ago is amazing. No problem for 5 years. Only on this later part that I get defective iPhone products. What will you do if you experience that? So the iPhone 12 and the iPhone 13 regular have the same camera, 12 megapixel in their ultra wide and the wide. And for the iPhone 13 Pro and Pro Max, they have triple cameras, which is telephoto, wide, and the ultra wide. A wider aperture for light gathering and easy focus. And the telephoto has the 3x capability. They have the new generation processors for the 13 Pro and Pro Max only. They have announced a new feature for the video mode, which is the cinematic mode. Has a bunch of focus tools for the shooters to better control the focus. It's the focus pulling or focus change. It's quite cool, but actually, when you are doing this for your film, the purpose of this is to uplift the feeling. It helps for the viewers to capture their emotions. But looking at their sample, it doesn't touch my feeling, and it looks fake. You can have the feeling that it's not natural, and it's far from achieving the smoothness you can get to focus change on a real lens. Truly, this is not natural, because what you see on these iPhone cameras are fake blur. So that's the number 1 main addition. Number 2 is the ProRes. You can now shoot a ProRes 4K 30 frames per second, which is a high quality video. But if you get the baseline has 128 gig. That's the starting line. If you get that, the ProRes video recording will be cancelled out. From ProRes 4K, it would only be downgraded to Full HD or 1080p. So you must get the higher capacity storage, not the baseline, for you to shoot 4K. So you have to add another few bucks again. New specs for the CPU, they have now A15 Bionic chip for all of these iPhones. And for the Pro phones, they have the 5-core GPU. But for the regulars, it's just only 4-core. iPhone 13 lineup has now much thicker body, tiny bit heavier than the last year's iPhone 12. Same ceramic shield. The disadvantage is, look at the camera bumper. It's like a bumper of your new Hilux or Ford Ranger pickups. It's too thick. When you put this on a flat surface, it will definitely wobble. And like what I've told you, the price, 13 mini has the same price of the 12 mini last year. It's $699. So you can get new features, new specs for your iPhone 13 mini for the price of iPhone 12, iPhone 13 Pro Max at $1099. And with the current exchange rate, that is 55,235. 50,209 pesos for the 13 Pro, 40,157 pesos for the iPhone 13, and 35,131 for your iPhone 13 mini. And one good thing, all of these iPhone 13s have the baseline of 128GB storage capacity. That's a lot of storage. So you can see a bunch of small upgrades for this iPhone 13 coming from the iPhone 12. And as promised a while back, I have this 3 phones that has bleeding edge features that we wish included on your iPhone features. Number 1 is the Xiaomi 11T Pro. Apple don't include chargers, only the cables. This Xiaomi 11T Pro, a massive break when it comes to charging. 120 watts fast charger. Look at this phone with a massive battery, and it's dead from 0 all the way up to 100% in less than 20 minutes. That's delicious. And Xiaomi is said to be a leader in charging technology, 120 watts. And for context, iPhone 13 is still on the 20-watt charging technology. But they said that this has much degradation to your battery. But let's compute it. According to Xiaomi, after 800 cycles of charging, there is an 80% degradation. 800 cycles. We only have 365 days in a year. So if you charge every day, 800 cycles is how many years? My new iPhone 12 is, I think, my 6th iPhone. It only lasts for 2 years. Yes, believe me, their batteries only last for 2 years. But these Xiaomi products are from China. They want to conquer the West Philippine Sea. And I hate them for that. Now, another China phone. This is the ZTE Axon 30. $500. So converted in peso, that's only 25,130 pesos. 6.9 inches phone. So it's massive. 6 gig of RAM, which iPhone only has 4 gigs. But for the Pro phone, yes, it's already 6 gigs. It also have 120 Hz refresh rate. Much better charging technology than the iPhones. So what's something on this phone that is cool? That is the under-display selfie camera. So when you do the selfie, you always tend to look at the display, not to the lens of the camera.
Hello there, guys!
Not right now with this phone, because when you're looking at the display, you are actually looking at the lens of the camera. So you are talking with your audience now, not talking to them with your eyes on something else. So how cool is that technology, especially for the vloggers? This is the 2nd generation, way better than the 1st generation. So hiding the camera under the screen part is functionally perfect right now. So that is the 2 China mid-range phones with distinct feature. This 3rd phone is not from China but from Hong Kong, and they have their main factory in Pakistan. This is the Infinix Zero X, a competitive budget phone. Nothing much, but when you look at the papers, this phone has something on its camera. The iPhone have 12 megapixel cameras, and this phone has triple-digit megapixel. 108 megapixel for this $300 camera, equivalent to 15,000 pesos. This iPhone cameras has been stock since the iPhone 6s. But on the hardware part, iPhones has wider aperture, large sensor capability, but still when you take picture, you would like to crop to have a much tighter frame. There is a breakdown in details. So let's help Apple to add more features that we want to see on their new product soon. And why not we make this kind of fun? Like, I'm thinking of the super heating feature of new iPhone, wherein you put the caldero with rice and it will be cooked through your iPhone. Or something like a sensor where you aim your iPhone to a lady and it will detect if the lady has panties or not. Some crazy things. And what I'm trying to point out on this video is for you to don't believe that I'm speaking in straight English or you are fooling yourself. Of course, it will be arranged on the editing. Please subscribe. I love you.